starting in verse 11. On the way to Jerusalem, he was passing along between Samaria and Galilee. And as he entered a village, he was met by 10 lepers who stood at a distance and lifted up their voices, saying, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. When he saw them, he said to them, Go and show yourselves to the priests. And were, as they went, they were cleansed. Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice, and he fell on his face at Jesus' feet, giving him thanks. Now he was a Samaritan. Then Jesus answered, Were not 10 cleansed? Where are the 9? Was no one found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner? And he said to him, Rise, go your way. Faith has made you well. So I want to talk a little bit this morning. Where are the 9? Where are the 9? Now, most of you, if you don't realize that lepers in this day was a terrible skin disease. It meant that your life was turned upside down, that you could not associate with your family because the disease spread so easily. Most of it, if you read in some of the other days, is that they had then communities of lepers where they would congregate together. These lepers then, they were not allowed to live in the town. People were afraid of catching their disease. And if anyone came near a leper, the leper had to warn the other person to go away. No one was allowed then to touch a leper. Lepers then found themselves out of society, shunned by all those around, in need of a miracle. The priests then were the people who had to say whether or not they were really healed. And hence you see a lot of times when Jesus healed one, he said, Go tell the priest. And when the priest would verify that you are no longer a leper, you were able then to enter society like any other person. So I want to start then talking a little bit about on this morning that it might make some of you uncomfortable, that we live then in a nation that loves healing but hates the healer. We love the blessings, but we forget the blesser. We build monuments to prosperity, but we have amnesia when it comes to justice, mercy, and truth. Now, Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem, not on a vacation, not for a temple conference, not to shake hands with the Sanhedrin. He's going now to die. This is Luke chapter 17. But on his way, he's on his way to sacrifice, and he decides to stop. And he stops now for the unclean, the unwanted, the unworthy, of course, all those in the eyes of society. And that alone should make you a little bit happy all by itself, that even in my worst of condition, God still cares about me. So Jesus crosses then the boundaries that we in society have a tendency to build up. Now the text says Jesus was traveling between Samaria and Galilee, and that's more than just geography, saints. It's a border zone. That's where the Jews and the Samaritans did not mix. That's where religion and racism collided. That's where the clean and the unclean met. But Jesus doesn't just walk along the borders, he breaks them down. 10 lepers cry out, 10 marginalized bodies, 10 lives dismissed by religious elites. But Jesus doesn't ask for a donation. He doesn't check their ID. He doesn't ask for their immigration papers or the documentations of citizenship. He doesn't run a background check. He just tells them to show themselves to the priest. All right, preacher, come on now. On their way, they're healed. So the second thing I want to talk about a little bit is the gratitude is revolutionary when you're not supposed to have it. Gratitude is revolutionary when you're not supposed to have it. But here's where it gets real. 10 were healed. 10 had their lives restored now. 10 had their dignity returned, but only one came back. But I'm so glad that even the religious people didn't go to this border town. And even though the wealthy did not go to the border town, but Jesus was able to make the level plain. 10 lives were restored. 10 had their dignity returned, but only one came back. While they walk away, one comes back, and Jesus asks, "Where are the nine?"